Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cory Turner Talks Cars. And today I'm here with my buddy John. How you doing, John?
Hey.
And John drives a 2018 Dodge Charger SXT.
Yes,
correct? That's
correct,
exactly
sir.
right. And we're going to talk about that today. And we're going to find out what John likes about the car, what it's been like to have it for a long time. Now, you may recognize John because he joins me. It's actually our show together on I'd Eat That. Right?
Yes, you and I
That's
do.
exactly
It's good
it.
times.
I love movies, I love cars, and I love food. And on I'd Eat That, we go to places and we talk about places we love to eat.
Yep.
And man, there's been some good ones.
There's been some great stuff.
Oh, my
Great stuff.
gosh, yes. So you got to. I'll put that link in the description, so you have to check that out. So okay, so John, you drive this incredible 2018 Dodge Charger. So tell us first of all, why the Charger?
So I had rented a Charger
Okay.
like 10 years ago.
Okay.
And
Now is that the funny story where you guys went skiing and
we were going to go skiing.
Okay.
And National Rent-A-Car put a Charger in the wrong line. And I basically paid $13 a day to drive a Charger around for like 5 days.
Because that's a situation where it's like,
Yeah.
if it's in this line or the one above and below, you could pick
I'm
it
good
out.
to go. And they misparked like 2 Chargers, and here we are.
And here we are. And that guy probably lost his job, whoever parked the Charger in the wrong line. So you had 2 Chargers, or you had a Charger for $13 a day.
Yes. And what I remember about it when we rented it was when we got to the place we were staying, there were a few other adults that were staying there with us, and they ended up riding and sitting in the back seat, and just like it was roomy for them. And the back seat's gotten a hair smaller since then.
Right.
But after looking at cars and kind of looking at some other stuff, I was looking at trucks. I
Okay, yeah, because you set out to buy a truck,
I set out
right?
to buy a truck. I'd
Yep.
had an F-150 before, drove it into the ground.
Right.
I mean, just really wore that thing out, and then sold it for way more than I thought.
I was
I'd
gonna say,
be
you
able
still
to sell
probably
it
got
for.
some money out of
I
it,
got a
F-150s.
good amount of money for it.
To hold their value.
And so I was going back to that, but I just kind of kept having a hard time going back to a truck just yet. I
Sure.
wanted to try something else out.
Because
And
what was right before that? You had an SUV, right?
I had a Ford Expedition
Okay.
because we had kids that were in car seats.
Okay. Needed the
And
space.
Car seats, you basically need like a jumbo jet to carry around those infant car
Yes,
seats.
that's
They're
exactly
giant.
right.
They're giant.
And
so
help carrying them in a back brace.
Yes.
All right, everybody, it's time to tell you the mystery car of the day. If you were watching this during the holiday season of 2019, the end of November and up to December 10th, I'm going to tell you the mystery car. What you have to do is email that to me, and that enters you to win either the Volkswagen Bus, which is awesome, Lego set, or the 1/18 scale law Ferrari. I'll put a link in the description so you can learn more about the contest, so be sure to watch that. But the mystery car of the day, this one's going to be super easy. It's the 2017 Alfa Romeo Giulia. So you're going to want to email 2017 Alfa Romeo Giulia to Cory at CoryTurnerTalks.com. Good luck. Each video you can enter once per mystery car. So watch every video between now and December 10th. It gives you another chance to win, and you can win your choice of those 2 great prizes. So good luck.
I bought that one like 5 or 6 years used. It was an 03.
Okay.
And I paid it off and drove it and it was still in great condition.
Right.
And then one day the radiator just was like, "Hey, I don't hold anything anymore,"
I'm
and
done.
just let everything go.
I'm full.
And I threw that on Craigslist and said, "Hey,
yeah?
the radiator's gone." And I got a good amount of money for it too. And I mean, Dead's completely honest, was like, "Hey," and somebody's like, "I can fix a radiator."
It was all bonus there because you had it paid off for so long.
Yeah. And so I was dreading the kick in the teeth of getting a car payment. And so I bought this in 2018.
Okay.
But it had been a rent-a-car.
Okay.
And so it was in pristine condition. There was nothing wrong with it. It had, like 20,000 miles on it.
Sure.
But it was everything I wanted.
Okay.
But the great thing about it is with 2 kids that are 6 and 8, I could fit 2 kids in the back seat. No problem.
Because now you don't have to worry about car seats and stuff.
You don't have the car seats. I have boosters, but boosters
Right.
are still super easy, and there's no problem
Right,
at all.
right.
But the thing about it is that I got the insurance of a 4-door car, but I have a sports type car.
Right.
And it gives me all the power I need in a sports car. It gives me the drive I want of a sports car.
So I wanted to ask that about the power. So how do you feel? So you have the V6.
Yes.
Right. So how do you feel on the power? I mean, is it responsive? Do you get what
Yes.
you want out of it?
It's extremely responsive. And that's
Okay.
one thing is, like my wife has a V6 in her car, and sometimes with a smaller SUV, I feel like it reacts like a 4-cylinder.
Sure. It's
I
slow,
push it now.
takes a while.
It's almost a little bit, not to say it's a little bit safer almost in a way.
Okay.
It gives you what it needs in the long haul, but in that first hit, you're not getting that power.
Right.
Whereas the second I hit that gas
in
pedal,
the Charger, when you hit the
get
gas,
that kind of that where the car drops and then it just finds where it needs to be. Yes. And that's what I enjoy about. I don't even have to go that fast to pass somebody.
Right.
I hit it, I get right past them, and then I can kind of stay in a good. I'm not having to hit it and drive way over to get enough speed caught up.
So it's like you step on the gas and you're going.
And I go. And I do. It comes with you hit over and you have the manual transmission that you can use with that and everything else.
Now, do you use that much?
I've used it here and there. It's a weird feel because even with the standard, you have that you're feeling the shift or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas with this, you're clicking down to go faster and you're clicking up to minus.
Okay.
And it's almost like you feel like it's opposite. Like I'm backwards.
Like you should be.
Yeah.
I will find too, when it comes to those kind of shifters, I usually will use them on the test drive.
Yeah.
And then once I'm driving the car,
it's fun.
I go lazy.
It's neat and it's fun to say you have it. And
it's
if I really have to put it down, it's fun to have that ability to just pop it over. And I mean, it literally is a pushover and then boom, boom, boom. And I actually like it more than having him here. And I know that sounds weird because the pedals or whatever.
Yeah.
But I want my hand on. I don't want to be sitting here pedaling, and I can just go pop, 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 pop.
It's funny
up
you
and down.
say that because I've had cars with paddle shifters. And one of them was a Smart, so that wasn't exactly, that doesn't really count. That's like half. But it's still, I miss that manual. Yeah. Although I don't know if I want to drive a manual every day. No. So it is still cool to have the feeling of a manual, like you're really shifting through the gears. So I'm impressed. Most people have that and never use it. So I'm impressed that you've used it.
Yeah. The other thing about the Charger was I went from an 03 paid off Expedition to like Back to the Future 2. I bounced way ahead. And
you missed a few generations and some few developments in the car industry.
With that, I know. And so what I enjoy with that and some of the other newer cars is instead of having its own navigation system and everything else, I plug my car in. Okay. And I have an Android, so it has Android Auto, or you can do Apple. But I get to use Waze or Google Maps, and so it's my preference of map. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And then also I get to use Google Assistant through the car.
Oh, that's cool.
And so what's crazy about that is like there's been times when my kids were in the back seat, and my daughter one time was like, "What's the tallest building in the world?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then I was like, "Hey Google," and it just told me.
That's pretty cool.
And so it's neat to have like that kind of access to where you can plug the phone in
and use what you want to use.
You can voice text from everything and all the other stuff. So it was nice to just have that.
Because I still find even my car and its navigation, I still just use my phone.
Right.
I just mine doesn't necessarily at the moment like really connect very well, so I just end up using the phone.
And that's the thing is like you don't have to update the navigation like you do with some of the older cars and stuff like that. You don't have to change anything. It's updated with your phone, and you're essentially using that on the screen.
Okay.
And so like my Amazon Music just goes straight through, and it doesn't just go through like I plugged in and it plays, and I have to use my phone like. It's now a part of the screen. As part
it's
of
like it came with the car.
And it does it with Pandora, Spotify, all the other stuff.
No, that's really awesome.
And digital screen, everything else.
I was going to say, how is the screen? Is it a touch screen?
The touch screen for all the nav and everything else, yes. The digital screen in the middle, no.
Okay.
But there's tons of options.
Okay.
It gives you all the options to tell you everything about your car, your tire pressure, your oil temp, all your temperatures for all your fluids.
Is it pretty responsive? Like there were some that are slow and there's some that are pretty quick. Extremely responsive. Okay.
Yeah, and I also like the
because it's weird because even though it's fast, I get frustrated when I click and then it goes.
I like the
car
fact
goes
that
120 miles per hour, but the screen can't keep up with my finger.
Well, and then in the settings, you can change so many settings of like how you want your screen to look, but then also like when I hit the lock button on my car, how many times does it honk or how many times, and stuff like that. It seems small and pointless, but for somebody who likes to fiddle around with stuff like that, it's fun. That. Yeah, and you can kind of get your preference.
It's cool to be able to customize it the way you want. So it's exactly glued up the way you want it.
It's got a big trunk.
That's good. Okay, so I was going to ask, what was the SXT? What was that package? What did that bring to you that you wanted?
Well, I think for me, I'm not sure. I know there was a few things added on because it had the black package that had the black wheels and it had the darker tint,
which looks
things like that.
The black wheels look super sharp on that car.
Yeah, I could have had a car that maybe had a little less miles,
right?
But that won it for me. Just that gray on black look for me was awesome.
Really good.
But for me, it was the electronics that were involved. Okay. It was the automatic start that I could use in Texas.
So I want to ask because people talk about that and don't use it a ton. Do you use it? Quite a bit.
Oh, all the time. The funny thing about it is what I keep hearing
Texas was the key word here.
Well, you know what's funny is I keep hearing over and over again people say, well, it's not cold here. Why would you need that? And I'm like, well, duh, we're in Texas. It's hot. It's
Super
very
hot.
hot.
Yes.
So when it is cold, yeah, I can warm up the car. But
Especially when you have it's all dark interior.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's hot
And when
inside.
it's hot, like I just click the button. By the time I've gotten in there, I can turn the air on, and I don't have that delay of just pure heat coming out or just whatever else. It's just immediately like, hey, it's cooled off. And if I had the air on, the car's already cold.
Right, and I think that's true. I think people automatically assume that it's to get a car warmed up. But in Texas, where we live, it's to cool it off. But of course, tomorrow it could be freezing, so you kind of adjust that. But yeah, I think it is to cool it off.
Yeah.
And so you use that feature. A lot of people don't use that feature much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of features that people, when they go in, they just have to have, and that becomes deal breakers. And then when they get home and take the car home, they just never use them again. Right?
One other little kind of weird feature that I'm obsessed with because I just love it is in the steering wheel. Right. Instead of the paddles back there, you have 2 buttons on each side that have an up and down and have a middle button.
Okay, so there's like 3 buttons?
Yeah, there's on each side, there's an up and down toggle and a button in the center of those.
Okay,
all in one strip.
Okay.
And so, most of them have like the volume on the front.
Right, yeah,
or
like
the
mine's
seat on the
here.
front or whatever.
Right.
They're in your hand. And so while you're driving, if you want to change your song from your Amazon Music or Spotify, or if you want to change the radio station, or if you want to up the volume, or if you want to change like the stations or the programs or whatever else, your buttons.
Okay,
And so my hand is here, and all I have to do is go up, down, toggle button. And
so are there still a lot of buttons on the front?
Still a lot of buttons on the front.
But you can use those in the back and they're easier.
You have all your controls for your screen.
Okay.
You have your cruise control. You have some other buttons on the side and down here. And then you have your phone hang up and shut off all the stuff here. Okay. But on the back end, when I'm wanting to change a radio station, I don't have to reach to the front. I don't have to reach over.
You don't have to look down to figure out which button to hit.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's not junked up with like 20 other buttons.
Right.
It's literally right here. I've got 2 toggles to go up and down and do everything I want to do on the radio station.
That's cool. Now you said that it had responsive power. How's our fuel economy? What are we looking like? Do you have any idea?
So it's really I was thinking I'm picking up a sportier car with a V6. I'm going from an Expedition, so it's gonna be better.
It's gonna be better,
but
than
not
that, true.
Right. I'm not getting a smart.
We're
car
not hypermiling in some.
What I was pumped about though was in town. I'm usually running at around 25 miles per gallon, maybe sometimes 23, depending on stop and go, but 23 to 25.
That's good.
But we've taken some trips, like some really long trips up all the way to Missouri and things like that.
Okay, so long.
Where we took the car and we were averaging between like 30 to 32 miles.
Oh, that's really good. For the V6.
And so for that, like I could drive all the way up to Missouri, and I'm not changing. I'm not having to refuel at all.
Right.
And with getting the gas mileage and the speed it does, it makes that road trip click by fast.
It went good.
Yes.
And so it's a good road trip car.
It is.
How about like comfort and that type of long driving?
Because it has a little bit sportier seats.
Okay.
You're not getting the same comfort you would with like a truck seat or like a luxury car seat or an
so it's not necessarily
SUV seat.
Floating along. You can't drive 15 or 20 hours and feel like you're still sitting in your couch.
Your cheeks are going to get a little numb here and there. It's comfortable overall, but it's not,
But the payoff is the driving around when you're normally driving, and the handling is good. How do you find the handling?
Phenomenal. That's the thing is one thing I can say about this car is it's responsive. It's extremely responsive.
I don't think people understand until you get close to one. It's a good sized car.
Yeah,
like it's a big car. Does it drive that way?
No, the only thing that you get used to is the front end is long.
Okay,
and
big hood.
And oddly enough, going from a large SUV to that, it's very different because the SUVs aren't as long as you would think in the front.
Right,
you're up. And so you're looking over everything, whereas this, you're kind of in it, and you've got
almost like Batmobile.
Yes, you have this Batmobile-esque length, and it's a little bit different to do that because you're really kind of, when you're turning into something, you have to think about your distances between. Okay. It wasn't anything where I was like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this, but it was a learning curve. Yeah.
How about parking? Fairly easy to park. Is there any collision avoidance, and do you have any of those kind of things beeping if you're screaming at you?
No.
Easy to park though when you pull in, except for the hood.
Park. It has the backup camera and everything else like that.
You mentioned the trunk too. Good.
It's a great size trunk. You're not luxury car massive, but you're not. I mean, there's some cars that come into and you're trying to pack stuff in. I mean, I could go to Costco pretty well with that car and be comfortable with it.
Yeah, I'm test driving one right now. I won't say the name of it, but the trunk is small. And you don't realize it until you're packing up equipment that you're like, that trunk's pretty small.
You know what's funny? When we were looking at cars for my wife originally, one of the issues I have with smaller SUVs is their space for trunk space is worse than any car.
Yes, by the time that seat in the back, you've only got like one suitcase standing up.
Yeah, and it's not a normal suitcase.
Right.
You're like, I can put my briefcase and a hat back there. But with that, like you get a really nice size trunk that kind of really goes under and carries everything you're looking for. And so I've been really happy with it.
That's cool because to have that much space, because I utilize that a lot. Especially we do, because of the food show and stuff like that, we need that equipment. We move that around, green screens and lights and all that. And then all of a sudden you're stuck with a car that doesn't have it. You're talking about the SUVs. It is funny. It's like everybody advertises these third rows, but it's not really a third row. It's the trunk. You basically stick in the trunk. So when you put up the third row, that's it. You're done.
Yeah, you're not
most
road tripping.
vehicles. Yeah, you're not. Yeah. So so overall, so you've had the car now for a little while. Is there anything you regret or haven't liked about the car?
Man, no. I mean, I got T-boned in the car.
Ooh.
Luckily, it wasn't a major wreck. A lady hit me from the side. We were going. I was going about 25. She was going probably about 20 as well.
Okay.
And I mean, when I got hit, I was more angry than I was hurt.
Okay.
And I mean, it hit and it moved my car, and I had to have it in the shop for 2 or 3 weeks. But I got no response out of that. Like, I wasn't sore the next day. I wasn't hurt. It was a really good. I mean, everything held up really well, and I didn't have any framing damage. It was just the door, you know. And so that was really good. And it hasn't been a really big regret in the car. I'm happy in it. Having 2 kids, I'm constantly surprised about the fact that I can easily have 2 kids in and out. And like I said, I get the sport feel with the sedan insurance.
Yep. The sedan insurance. And you can fit 5 adults if you needed to.
You can fit 5 adults, and 5 adults isn't going to be super comfortable, but 4 adults,
good.
I've had that multiple times.
And with the kids, it's totally fine.
The kids, it's easy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So if you have a Dodge Charger, let us know how your experiences were. Leave that in the comments. If you have any questions for John, maybe you're thinking about buying one yourself and you have some questions for John, leave that in the comments. I'm sure you would answer some questions if some people have it. So remember to like, comment, and share. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for sharing us with your friends. Let's talk about cars tomorrow.